This video will cover Part 1 of Lesson 2-6 on Secondary 1 Math, writing linear and percent inequalities and equations in one variable.
Okay, let's go ahead and go over the warm-up. The first problem is a space capsule re-enters the Earth's atmosphere at an altitude of 10,000 meters. The capsule is falling at an average speed of 109 meters per second. The parachute must deploy by 6,096 meters to land safely. What is the longest in seconds the space capsule can fall without a parachute and still make a safe landing? Let's see, represent the number of seconds. Okay, so for inequality here, first of all, we need to look at what's going on. So we start off at 10,000 feet. And it's falling at 109 feet per second. And we want to know, so what this is right here, this is the current altitude. So let's go ahead and put the current altitude here. Okay, now when the parachute needs to deploy, that is at 6,096. Okay, now this needs to deploy, the latest that can happen is right here. So that means the parachute has got to deploy above or at this altitude of 6,096. So there's our inequality right there. So let me go ahead and just rewrite that again. So it looks a little more clear. I just want to explain how to set that up though. So we have 10,000 subtract 109c, that is greater than or equal to 6,096. So once again, the left hand side is our current altitude, and the parachute has to deploy at an altitude that's greater than or equal to the one on the right. Okay, so the first thing we want to do now is to solve this. We're going to subtract 10,000 from both sides. That leaves you with negative 109c is greater than or equal to negative 3904. Now we're going to divide both sides by negative 109c. Oh, not c, just kidding, just 109. Okay, so now what that gives me, I'm going to go ahead and go to this next page here and rewrite that again. So negative 109c, sorry, other way, it's greater than or equal to negative 3904. We're dividing both sides by negative 109. So c is, now I divided both sides by negative, so it becomes less than or equal to 35.8. Okay, so our solution is going to be, if I go back and look at my solution now, my solution is going to be 35 seconds. So that's the longest that the space capsule can fall before the parachute can deploy. If it falls longer than that, then it's not guaranteed a safe landing. Okay, number 2. Let's go ahead and set the inequality. So I have, let's see here. First of all, I need to figure out what the cost of the carpet is in square feet. And the hint here is find the area of your room. Well, if the room measures 10 by 12, 10 feet by 12 feet is 120 feet squared. That's my area. So I'm going to use that information to find out how much we can spend per square foot. So I have 120 square feet times how much it costs per square foot, and that has to be less than or equal to $500. On the left hand side I have how much I'm spending The right-hand side I have how much I have, and how much I'm spending has to be less than or equal to how much I have. Okay, now we're just going to go ahead and divide both sides by 120. So F is less than or equal to it's 4.16 with the 6 repeating. So my solution is $4.16. That's the most I can spend. Okay, number 3. We have Jack, Rose, and Tipper here. All eat the same dog food. Let's go ahead and set this up. So on the left-hand side, we have Jack, Rose, and Tipper. J represents the amount of food Jack eats, so that's J. Rose also eats the same amount, so that's also going to be J. And Tipper eats 8 times what Jack eats, so that's 8J. Now I know that on the left, that the sum of their food equals can't be more than 2.5 cups. So I have what Jack eats plus what Rose eats plus what Tipper eats. That cannot be more than 2.5, so that has to be less than or equal to 2.5 cups. Okay, so let's go ahead and write that down now. So Jack is J, plus Rose is J, plus Tipper is 8J, and that has to be less than or equal to 2.5 cups. Okay, I have 1J plus 2J's plus 8 more gives me 10J's. Is less than or equal. I'm going to change this to 2.5. Now we're going to divide both sides by 10. So Jack is less than or equal to 0.25. Okay, so now for our solution. Go ahead and erase some of this so I can see that it's over here. So Jack is 1/4 cup. Rose is also 1/4 cup. And Tipper is going to be 8 times that. 1/4 times 8 is 2 cups. Okay, on to the lesson. So go ahead and turn to page 81. Today we are writing linear and percent inequalities and equations in one variable. We are pretty much reviewing everything we've done for the last 5 lessons today to get ready for our test next time. We want to read each scenario, write an inequality or equation to model the scenario, then use the inequality or equation to solve the problem. Let's go ahead and start with number 1. At a restaurant, a water pitcher holds 9 cups of water. The pitcher must have at least 2 cups of water in it at all times. Each water glass holds 1.2 cups of water. How many glasses can be completely filled before the waiter must refill the pitcher? Let G represent the number of glasses. Okay, I'm going to give you about a minute or 2 to go ahead and set up your inequality and solve it before we go over the answer. Okay, let's look at two different ways to write this inequality. One way is to have, I start off with 9 cups of water minus 1.2 cups for every glass that I fill. And I want to make sure, this is how much on the left, this is how much is left in the pitcher. I want to make sure that amount is greater than or equal to 2 cups, right there. So that's one way to look at it. Another way to look at it is we have 1.2 cups for every glass that I fill, plus the 2 cups that I need, and that has to stay less than or equal to 9 because it can't be more than 9 in the pitcher. So two different ways to look at it. Either way you wrote it is fine. Okay, let's go ahead though. I'm going to solve the first one there on the top. So I'm going to go ahead and erase all this. So we have 9 subtract 1.2g has to be greater than or equal to 2. Subtract 9 from both sides. We have negative 1.2g is greater than or equal to negative 7. Now we're going to divide both sides by negative 1.2. So g is, since I divided both sides by negative, less than or equal to, we have 5.83 repeating. So the number of glasses has to be less than or equal to 5.83. So my solution is 5 glasses or less. Or I could have said at most 5 glasses. Okay, number 2. Your grandparents are encouraging you to get A's in all your classes. Your grandmother will pay you $6 for every A on your report card. Your grandfather will give you $15 if you get any A's on your report card. Together they give you $57. How many A's did you get on your report card? Let A represent the number of A's on your report card. So I'm going to give you about a minute to go ahead and set up your, this time we're actually looking for an equation. So go ahead and set up your equation and solve it. Then we'll go over it together as a class. Okay, let's go through this problem together. So your grandmother will pay you $6 for every A, and A represents the number of A's on your report card. So $6 for every A, plus the $15 that you got from your grandfather just for getting any A, and that equals $57. So first we're going to subtract 15 from both sides. 6A equals 42. Now we divide both sides by 6. So A equals 7. So my solution is that you got 7 A's on your report card. Number 3, Betty and Jane are biking towards each other from opposite sides of the state park. They are 133 miles apart. If Jane goes 17 miles per hour and Betty goes 21 miles per hour, How long until they pass each other on the road? Let H represent the number of hours. Okay, once again, I'm going to give you about a minute or two to work on this one by yourself. Think about it, and then we'll go through it together as a class. Okay, let's go ahead and look up this problem together. First of all, let's think about the situation here. I'm going to go ahead and draw a picture really quickly. So we have Betty, one direction. Here's Betty. And we're going to say this is the distance she's traveled, which is 17 miles per hour. So to find out how far she's gone, if we do 17h, this tells me Betty's distance right here. Then if we have Jane, oops, I am so sorry. I've got those two mixed up there. Let me fix that. So Betty goes 21. Let's change that to 21. On the right-hand side, we have Jane, and she is going 17 miles per hour. So to find out how far she's gone, that's 17h. Okay, the whole distance from here to here is 133 miles. So if I say, if I have Betty's distance, which is 21h, plus Jane's distance, which is 17h, that's going to, I want to know when that equals the 133. So let's go ahead and write our equation now. So we have the 17h plus 21h, and I want to know when that equals 133. If I have 17 h's plus 21 h's, that gives me 38 h's equals 133. I now divide both sides by 38, and h equals 3.5. So my solution is 3.5 hours. That's how long it'll take before they pass each other on the road. Okay, number 4. Marcos earns $12.40 per hour. He pays 24% in state and federal taxes. His weekly take-home pay is $282.72. How many hours does Marcos work per week? Let H represent the number of hours Marcos works in 1 week. Go ahead and set up your equation and solve it. Okay, we're going to look at two different ways to set this up. The first way is we have 100% of how much Marcos earns minus the 24% that goes to federal and state taxes. So the 100% that he earns, that is $12.40 times H. This is how much he earns minus the 24%. To find 24%, we go 0.24 times 12.4 H. And we're going to set that equal to 282.72. So on the left-hand side, we have how much he earns altogether minus how much goes to taxes, and that equals how much he takes home, what's left over there. So that's one way to look at it. And if I go ahead, I'm going to go ahead and just simplify this. Actually not. That's one way to look at it there. Okay, then the other way, go ahead and erase this. And we'll get to the same answer either way. But remember, we have 100% minus the 24%, and that equals 76%. So we have the 100% that he earns minus the 24% that goes to taxes. 76% is what he actually takes home. So another way we could have written this equation is 12.4H times 0.76 equals 282.72. Since he's not taking home 24%, 76% is what he's taking home. I'm trying to find his take-home pay. Now, when I multiply these out, 12.4 times 0.76, I'm going to get 9.424H equals 282.72. Now we're going to divide both sides by 9.424. And when I do that, I get H equals 30. So my solution is 30 hours. That's how much Marco works in a week to earn $282.72. Okay, we're going to go ahead now and start the second video.
This concludes the Part 1 video of Lesson 2-6 for Secondary 1 Math, writing linear and percent inequalities and equations in one variable.